morning and welcome to your daily game face. I'm are you going to hear my cat? I'm Dr. Kim Lannon. I'm here this morning with Lou Blasi. My cat has decided now, my 21-year-old has decided to use this moment right now to start screaming in the background because I'm not in studio today. So now I'm going to have to shut my door and you get to see the sun.
Oh, we've worked with animals before. It's no big deal.
I know. Well, it's a little different than Rocky because Rocky doesn't do that. There I go. Rocky, I'm trying to block. I don't have a shade on that. I took it down because the kittens took it down.
Oh, really?
So I'm full of,
Hopefully they get to see one because the one I saw this morning is beautiful.
Thank you. Well, they just left the room because my eldest was screaming her head off. Anyway, so good morning.
Good morning.
I'm running a little late this morning because it is marathon week and I have had a very busy week and I am running around and giving like lots of attention to lots of different things and spreading myself, out.
Yeah.
So I'm very busy. And so I couldn't come in studio today. So this is weird, but hey, if you're watching, you get to see my Super Bowl ring and my Brady behind me.
Nice.
You like that?
I do. Big
Very
Tom
cool.
Brady fan. Well, I was when he was playing.
Well, you can still be a Tom Brady fan. He's not like dead.
Well, then he went to Tampa Bay and then he got weird. So.
And then he got weird. Okay.
I mean, he's probably weird before, but.
Poor Tom.
Tom's okay. Poor Tom, please.
He's doing just fine.
He's doing just fine. Exactly.
Yes. Speaking of football players, I was with Andre Tippett last night.
Nice.
I know, for everybody that knows that blast from the past, right? Good old Andre. We had a team dinner last night and he was lovely. We talked about our golf game together before the actual ceremony of us as a team. And then, we talked about our golf game.
Best of a long line of great linebackers in that dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even all the linebackers would admit he was the best of them.
I would agree. And he's phenomenal in the Kraft family. And he does a lot of work for, Josh and Bob. And he's an executive director. And anyway, it was really good. So I got to spring into spring last night at Gillette Stadium with my team dinner. And Andre gave me a little honor. It was very lovely and very appreciated. So it gave me a little spring in my spring step to have, this job is not always a thankful job, as you know. And so it's nice to get recognized for some of the things that we do. And so it was nice and springy for me. And I was excited because I got to bring along my lovely cousin to the presentation / pre-marathon event. So it was really cool.
What's this last few days of preparation look like?
Lou, you are so good. You took my advice.
Thank
you. Nothing you know what I'm talking about. The last few days. Well, so I was going to talk a little bit about like that, but so my biggest thing right now is prioritizing sleep. Because sleep is my friend and is any marathoner or any runner, even if you're doing a 5K or if you're just doing like you want to just be a better athlete for yourself, not like an athlete running a marathon, but you want to be athletic for yourself because you're building mobility, flexibility, stability. You're building strength, you're losing weight, you're trying to change your lifestyle. It all applies. My prioritization of sleep is the most important thing at this juncture because sleep coming into the race will make for a better race. So I have good sleeps prepared. And because I am very focused on that, I have very specific things I'm doing. And I already have like my set schedule of what time bedtime will be on Sunday night. Now, here's the thing is you never get good sleep even if you're doing like a 5K. It's kind of like the Sunday night thing you get when you're going to work on Monday.
Right. Yeah.
It's that weird thing. So your best sleep so the marathon is unusual for Boston, always on a Monday, whereas usual marathons are on Saturdays or Sundays. So the best sleep is Friday and Saturday or Thursday, Friday and Saturday. And Sunday is kind of, I call it the wash night because I can say I want to go. Good morning, Natasha. I just saw Natasha log on.
Nice.
I can say I'm going to bed, say 8:00. So I will probably be. Hi, Chris. I'm going to come back to Chris in a second. prioritizing that as going to bed early doesn't mean I'll fall asleep. That's the problem with it on Sunday night. So 8 o'clock, because I have to be up early. And I have to be at the team bus in Boston early. So, and I'm not giving out times because I have, things, people listen and then they show up and I can't have that. So I'm not giving out specifics and I'm being very specific about that. So, but that's important. But the Sunday night sleep will not be great. I'm assuming, not that I'm not being positive. It's a struggle always for most people. Last year, I actually slept really good. And that should have been a warning that I was about to have my gallbladder do a hit the floor kind of moment, which ruined my race last year. So I actually had good sleep last year until I woke up with a massive gallbladder attack and was on the floor. But this year I said last night at our event, I have no more body parts to give. So therefore, we should be golden. I'm going into this, knock on wood, that we're going into this one this year with no specific injuries, little tweaks here and there, but no specific injuries for the first time in 11 consecutive years. No, I did start, get this, talk about going into a week. If you can hear it in my voice, the forsythia, I think, has come out and they started this thing. And it's not a cold and I don't feel sick, but 2 days ago, I lost my voice somewhat, almost completely. Yesterday, my voice was high pitching this weird thing. And today we're hearing what you're hearing today. So anyway, so back to sleep. So tonight, for the rest of the week, as best sleep as I can get. Doesn't mean I'm changing up like going to bed earlier. It just means trying to get better, which is really hard when you have a 21-year-old cat that keeps you up from 12 to 6 in the morning.
Can I detour you a little bit on sleep? Because I'm assuming the sleep you're talking about is non-assisted sleep. And a lot of people battle.
Oh, I'm like, what? I was like, what are you talking about?
Well,
yeah, like no assistance with like NyQuil or any of those things. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Talk about the difference in quality between those two, because a lot of people struggle with sleep and a lot of people do NyQuil or melatonin or whatever.
So I don't use any of those things. So when you use those things, I mean, some people need them because of their mental health in terms of like they don't have good sleep. There's nothing wrong with using them on occasion, right? For melatonin, so I'll go down through melatonin you can use, but you really shouldn't use melatonin every day. You should only use it a couple days in a row, then take a break from it because your body is not able to, your body uses melatonin in a way that it already naturally processes it. So if you're always using it, the body gets used to it, habituated, and then it's not going to work because it's not actually a sleep aid in the traditional sense of helping you in like a way that a medication would or like NyQuil would. What it does is it helps regulate your melatonin that you already have created from the light and dark of the sun rising and going down. And so I'm looking up because I have a very large cat that just entered the space, and this could change my dynamic on my computer.
Hopefully we get to see him.
Well, he's sitting. Yeah, he'd sit on my computer and crush it. He's my biggest cat. Anyway, so melatonin is fine. I don't use those things because I tend to think that they mess up my sleep cycle. I don't use any sleep medications. Probably should, but here's the thing. So if you're using them in general, you're not running or anything or doing anything like I'm doing. If you use something like that, what happens is if you don't take them early enough in the evening, the next morning, you'll have what I call the tongue lick or drag on the floor because they stay in your body, even though they have their half-life and they sort of pass through you. Most people will complain about the fact that you're still dragging from them into the middle of the day. So if you're a person who's running a marathon, and you take a sleep aid at 8 o'clock at night and your marathon mine starts at 11:15 on Monday morning. So it's later. I wouldn't trust that one, I don't take this medication, but I wouldn't be able to get it metabolized out of my body and it might drag me. So I wouldn't use those. So for other people, they're fine. But I often have patients who will say, I'm so draggy in the morning. In the morning, when they tell me that hour is like 1 PM or 2, I'm like, that's because you're still dragging from the medication. So, and people don't realize that, but that's what, things like Ambien, Trazodone, all those types, Seroquel, those are all sleep aids that help in that way. NyQuil and Advil PM and all those that have like diphenhydramine and all those kinds of things in them, they don't do those particular ones that are over the counter won't give you the drag in the same way, but
Yeah.
they will. I just would never risk on a marathon night to use them because I'd be afraid I'd sleep through, or I'd be so draggy that I'd be dragging myself literally over the course. So I'd rather be amped up and not sleep than
Yeah.
right.
I have problems with melatonin because I get about 3 good hours, and then my dreams kick up big time, and it's just
Yeah.
waking me up.
Melatonin can do that to a lot of people because it keeps it's and that's one of the complaints about it, not just the dreaming, but it's about it will put you into sleep, but then it will kick you back out right away. It's kind of like alcohol. People use alcohol. That's the other thing. No alcohol.
Yeah.
If you use alcohol to sleep, you'll get a few hours of sleep, but then it will pop you out because it messes your sleep cycle up because it's a facade. It's a fake.
Yeah.
Or people will say, oh, use marijuana, which I've never done. And I'm proud to say I've never done any drugs. Thank you very much. But marijuana will do the same kind of thing. It will make people feel relaxed, but it will often pop, especially anxiety prone people. It will pop them out of sleep. There he is. Do you see him in the background?
Yes, I see him. Yeah.
That is Bean, a big Bean. So it will pop you out of sleep.
Try to
And
make you
also
see him a
people,
little bit. There we go.
there you go. Good morning. I just saw Chris Lorden come in. Hi, Chris. Good morning. So it will pop you out of the sleep cycle. And it's also not good, people that are prone to sort of paranoid personality, or people who have like more delusional, like really negative thought processes, or they get fixated, obsessive thoughts. Those types of things aren't good, like alcohol.
Rumination. Yeah.
And because it gets into that, and it can make actually people have psychotic breaks. I mean, at the extremes. So in that way, it's not good. Hi, Chris. Chris is saying hi. So, but for me, for a person who's getting ready to just run. So if you're getting up, like if you want to get up on Monday morning and just work out at the gym, and you have to be at work at 8, but you want to get a workout in, I don't think that using a sleep med is really going to be conducive to help you with that. If you really want to have a good workout and you want to feel up and ready and all those things. So my week going in, to go back to your question, is prioritizing sleep. I set my goals. I have my goals, and I'm reframing I have an A, B, and C goal. And people were asking me this week about my A, B, and C goal. My A goal is always to finish without injury,
Yep.
injury or death.
Good goal.
Right, exactly. Well, it is. It's my A goal. So really quickly, Chris Diorio is on. He's watching and listening, or he's doing both. And there, yes. And he's running the marathon as well, so he can jump in the chat if he wants to add anything in for sure. So we're talking about A goals, B goals, and C goals. Chris, I don't know what his are, but I would assume his is also very similar. We all try to just make sure we're not going to win. We're the charity team runners. So that
Yep.
doesn't mean we're not running fast, or doesn't mean that we're not running. We're just not in the elite pack that starts at 8:30 in the morning, and we're not going to be done by 10:30. We don't even get out of Hopkinton until 11:30. So we're looking at coming into Boston, mid to late afternoon. And so my A goal is, I'm very happy, and I could regret saying this right now. I'm happy because the weather right now is my weather. It's the weather that I would run in on any given day that would be lovely for me, that's coming, that I see. And I've learned over the years of doing this, in the 11 years, that in this particular marathon, unlike the other ones I've done outside of Boston, this one is always a weather trick bag, because I've run 90% of these in torrential downpours, hurricane force winds. At times, there was a 42-mile-an-hour wind back in 2018 with sleet, snow, and rain. And I was saying last night that I don't think I picked my head up from looking off the ground one time during that whole race, and I just went mile by mile praying to God that I wasn't hypothermic and I didn't die.
Yeah.
And I think there were tears along the way too, going, I just need to make it. As soon as you get to the top of Boston College, that's your 21-mile mark. That's when I always am like, okay, I know 5 miles, I can do the next 5 miles. So I have to just get to the top of that hill, and then I'm done. In my head, I'm like, okay, now I know I can make it. But the the whole process of coming into the into the race to be able to have an A goal is just to finish for me. People say, "What's going to be your time?" I don't know. I have no
Yep.
idea. Or people say, "Are you ready?" That's great. I love it when people say because they're interested.
It's
I'm
a conversation starter. Yeah.
it's yes, I'm ready, but it's just like when you wake up on any given day. Some days, you go out and it's like, oh, this is a great day. And then some days you go out and you're like dragging, right? Because you're like, I'm ready, but I'm not feeling the same kind of thing. So some days runs are like awesome and you just, and then some days they're not. So I always say, yeah, but I don't know what Monday's going to look like for me because we'll see. I'm hoping I'm doing all the right things for that. So I'm going in with, um, yes, Chris says this is phenomenal weather to run. And yes, it is. Um, Stay healthy, keep on the plan. Don't finish like I did last year. You
Don't
did fine last
don't
year.
finish last like I did last year.
Right. Um,
I'm
he
sorry, you finished, that's a win.
Yeah, that's right. And Chris is an inspiration. So for people that are listening, Chris just jumped in and had some commentaries. But yeah, stay healthy, keep on plan, don't finish last. Finishing last, and we had this conversation at our event last night. If you run a 3-hour marathon, a 5-hour marathon, a 7-hour marathon, a 9-hour marathon, you ran a marathon. Whether you walk it, there's plenty of walkers. The fact is you're doing it, and who else is doing that? So if you're out there and you finish, and Chris finished awesome. And if you guys remember, he came on the show last year. I'm going to try to get him back on the show again this year because he says this is his last year doing it, but I'm going to try to inch him along. I don't know if I can convince him, but
I
um
almost admire that more. You've got the elite athletes who can do it in 2 hours, and it's like, okay, they're elite, they can do it, but
right,
the average guy who goes out and does the marathon and stays at it for 4 hours, 5 hours beyond, God,
right.
those guys are great.
Right. Well, like the average marathoner for the most part is like a 5 and change,
Yeah,
like the average 5 and change, right? You're out there for a good 5.5, 6 hours.
yeah.
I mean, for 2 hours, that's, you're a leaders, 3 hours, okay, you might be an avid runner that has been doing this a long time. I don't do those. The last time I saw something under like 4:30, I, I was in college. Right, and I don't aim. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't aim. I would aim for that, but that's not what I do for this race. I'm getting ready in the fall or late summer for a faster qualifying race for this. As I've talked about, and I missed it last year because of my gallbladder. Lots of things I missed last year. But it's not about that. It's about coming in with that A goal of finishing, staying healthy, B goal of just being able to chunk away at different things. Like I have very specific ways I split the race out, which, if anyone's interested in doing half marathons or marathons down the line, I have a technique, and many sports psychologists and sports people do this, is we break the whole race out into chunks. And how you do this, Boston's very specific because Boston is incredibly hard. And people say it's all downhill. So the net gain or the net loss of downhill is fantastic over this race.
Yeah.
However, the first 7 miles of this race, some people will say 4, I say 7, is all downhill except for one little incline. And I call it little because in comparison to what's coming is little. So the first 7 miles is downhill. So the mistake that people always make, and I see, and I have been the problem in this as well. When you come out of the corrals, there's so many people because there's 30,000 runners and we're in these big corrals and we go off in I think it's every 5-minute intervals. The amount of people in the surge that comes behind you, and around you and in front of you, you're running in these massive packs of people. I'm talking thousands, and people come flying out on that first downhill. The first downhill out of Hopkinton is straight downhill, and the amount of speed you can pick up without realizing it. So to stay, I back off by almost 3 minutes off my normal marathon mile. 3 minutes, that's a lot,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
right? I back down, and people would say, oh, take 20 to 30 seconds off. No, I back down 3 minutes because I get pushed so hard by other people. Like they're literally pushing you. I actually got pushed in 2017 down in that first hill and turned around by a guy coming out of the woods from going to the bathroom. He hit me, spun me. I fell. It spun me facing the oncoming runners, and they literally turned me around off my butt, picked me back up, and I kept running. I was bleeding everywhere. I've told that
Mm.
story.
Yeah.
It's very intense. So that race, if you guys are running it for the first time, Boston is not an easy race. It's not, you don't want to blow out your first half marathon with massive amounts of times coming out with um, way above and beyond your timing, because by the time you hit mile 16, the hills start, and that's when the race begins. And people don't realize, and for all of you out there that have no idea what this means, at mile 16, you're coming out of Wellesley, Massachusetts into Newton, Massachusetts. Newton has the longest stretch of the race. They're about 6 and a change of miles. The majority of it is what we call Heartbreak Hill. Heartbreak Hill is not one hill, it's 4,
Mm.
but it's actually 5. And hey, by the way, there's my marathon nails. See it? Yep.
Nice.
There's 5 hills. There's one that comes over the highway that starts off into Newton, and it goes past the hospital. Then you go to Flat. Then when you take the turn, that's a famous turn to go past the fire station and start your descent, which is really an ascent first. You have to go for about almost 3.5 and change, almost 4 miles, rolling 4 hills. And I always love to see people's faces at the expo on Friday and Saturday when they're talking to you and they're in line, and you get really, the sport of running is, talk about spring. It's like, it's full of spring, right? Because everyone's talking about life and goals and moving forward and all kinds of great, getting connected with people. And people will be like, yeah, it's all downhill. And I'm always the bearer of bad news when I'm talking about it inadvertently. I'm like, oh, they'll be like, yeah, Heartbreak Hill. And I'm like, yeah, the 4 hills. And they look at me like, because I have the benefit, like a lot of us have the benefit that live here. We get to train on the course, so we know the course, right?
Right.
The course, Heartbreak Hill is in and of itself one hill, the actual Heartbreak Hill. You know why it's heartbreaking? Because the 3 hills in front of it kill you, and then you get to the heartbreak.
Yeah.
I think Heartbreak Hill is an easier hill than the 3 in front of it. The 3 in front of it to get to the climb, to get to Heartbreak Hill, is why it's a heartbreak. And then when you get to the top of Heartbreak Hill, at the top of Boston College, it's this massive descent, like a roller coaster, straight down for a good quarter mile or more. And it's a quad killer. So between almost 4 miles of running uphill to then run downhill really fast, it's, in mile 21 is like, oh my God. So my goal, in my goal B, is to not die on the hills. There's a lot of not dying. And just keeping consistent. I try to stay consistent, like, kind of like the theme in life: stay consistent, stay happy, stay upbeat. A lot. And Susan Hurley, who's the charity teams director, was talking to me last night. We were laughing about how people who come flying out of this race at the beginning, by the time they get to mile 16 to 21, I'm usually passing them walking, because they're still like trying to run. Now they've gassed out because they blew it all out in the first half or more. And my actual walk run is faster than their run up those hills. So I always am like, oh, I remember you at the beginning.
Yeah.
now you're behind me. So it's hard because people just don't learn. I have been the victim of not learning this. I every year set this goal: do not come out fast. Do not come out fast. I have it written. I have it written in my planner. I have it written on my car visor. I have it written, and I'll be saying it right till the start of the race. And I guarantee you, I will be slowing myself down 500 times, going, slow down, slow down. Because what happens too is the psychology. It's such an interesting psychology.
Your adrenaline's flowing, right?
What?
Your adrenaline's flowing. You're just up
Your
for the start
adrenaline's
of the
flowing.
race.
You've got so much, and not pressure as in like, you've got people whose eagerness around and their energy is so intense that it changes yours by just natural process. So I'm actually managing psychologically like 5,000 people, no exaggeration, around me
Yeah.
at the same time as I'm trying to internally be like, slow down, run your own race, slow down, run your own race. And then people on the sidelines, if you're running slower, this always kills me. They're not running, but they always are like, it's okay. It's okay. You're going slow. You're like, shut up. Stop talking to me.
Yeah.
And or they'll be like, or they smart asses always have the 25 more miles. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
and
yeah. Nothing
they're
like a good joke right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love sarcasm. Um, and there's a sign, and I don't know if Chris remembers this and has seen this, but there's a sign that's in Ashland. So Ashland's the first town you run through. It's the shortest part of the whole race, right? For the towns. Ashland, there's a sign that somebody puts up every year that says something about like you're at Boston, like right, your finish line's right there. And I always look at that sign and I'm always like, I hate this sign. I hate this sign because you're not even maybe half a mile in. I'm like, I hate that sign.
Yeah.
So I try not to look up because it's up on a tree, and I'm always like trying to stay away from that sign by looking all around, and I inevitably see it, and I'm like, oh, I hate that sign,
Yeah.
because it's a mind.
Yeah.
It's a mind screw.
Yeah,
So,
this is such a
um,
mental exercise. The marathon, we talk about the physical demands of it, which are obvious, but
yeah.
mentally, there are a lot of mental demands as well.
So marathons are mostly mental, like the training, the actual, and I'm going to go back to Chris's point about how he said, and not finish last like last year. The fact that he finished and the fact that people finish and go and do what they do, that's mental. That's mental strength. That's mental toughness. That takes more than just running. Anyone can go and run, really, truly. Anybody can go and run. But to finish a marathon under extreme circumstances of whatever your stories are, you're in the 1%, less than 1% of all people on the whole earth of the planet run marathons.
And
And
by the way, what's more admirable, that physical and mental demand for 2 hours, or that physical and mental demand for 8 hours? I mean, just
well,
think.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I always remind people that, because I coach people in this marathon and other marathons, but I have a few people I've been coaching this year. And I say to them, if you run 2 hours or you run 8, the distance is still the same. It's still a marathon. All you have to do is finish. And it's such a relieving thought about that. Like, I still have that mindset. And I've said, you get naysayers all the time, and people are there. Unfortunately, there's some people that are very negative, who feel it very necessary to have commentaries. And Chris can attest to this as well. Um, they have commentaries about the fact of like people who walk or run slower or take more time than and they criticize the Boston Athletic Association for allowing, and I'm going to say us, people who don't do 2 or 3 hour marathons. And it's just like, my retort is always, well, my retort offline is very different than my retort here, but my retort is, when you can come and put your shoes on and you can stay out there for 5 and 6 hours like I do, and people would say, of course, well, I don't need to because I can run it in 3 hours. Good for you. That's fabulous.
Well,
And
that's the soul of the Boston Marathon. The soul of
well,
the Boston Marathon is that Bostonians run it, not
it's
just elite athletes.
it's the soul, and I would say the soul of the marathon is charity teams. The charity
Yeah.
team runners, the final wave, the fourth, we call it the fourth wave. There's usually 5 corrals of thousands of people in them, all people who have raised millions of dollars to go to charity. That is the race.
Mhm.
People come out to watch the elite runners, and yep, they do, and it's
No,
fabulous and
I
whatever.
don't think
But the
anybody goes out to watch elite
biggest
runners.
crowds are always in the middle of the day when everybody from that fourth wave is coming in from like 2:30 to like 5:30 in the afternoon.
Who cares
That's
about the elite runners? You wanna cheer on the neighbors. You wanna,
right.
people just put this dedication and put the work in and just, tough it out. I mean, those are the people you come to see. That's the show.
Well, right, and to quote Susan Hurley again, God, I love her. She always, she has very specific things about us being as charity teamers, as people who run, and by the way, people that run for charity also have qualified many times and they still run for charity. I want to point that out, that a lot of times people think that charity teamers are very specific of like, oh, they can't qualify. Not true. People do it because they're philanthropic. I love doing what I do for the New England Patriots, and I will continue to do that because we give back to New England over $300,000 worth of grant money to 26 charities every May for the Myra Craft Foundation, to individual people, 26 individual people from different organizations all across New England, different every year, that apply. This year there's 300 applicants. And we give $10,000 away to 25 of them and $25,000 to one of them for these amazing charities that otherwise wouldn't have that kind of support, and they get recognition. And that's just one, that's my charity. And I can't think of a better place to put my time and effort in. Yeah, it's hard. You have to train for running. It's harder to fundraise than it is harder
Yeah.
than it is to train.
True.
Anybody can go out and train for a marathon, because but if you're training for a marathon, you're promoting a charity team, you're raising money for it, you're doing events, you're showing up for other people's events, you're supporting your team, you're supporting other people's teams, and you're out there camaraderie. That's a very big difference than someone who just, and God love all the runners, but that's very different than showing up for just yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's a choice, and nobody should have anything to say about that. And so my other goal, my other C goal, to is there is a time limit on us that's been placed now from Bank of America, which never was before, because John Hancock was bought out by Bank of America, so they're no longer the sponsor. So now Bank of America is the sponsor, and the BAA and Bank of America collectively, I believe, put a very specific time limit that we've always had a time limit. So, but they put a time limit this year on it being that they will shut the clocks off at 5:30 p.m. because the towns are asking for the first time, I guess, to have the roads start opening up, because it crosses 26 miles of 6 towns.
Yeah.
So it goes Ashland to Hopkinton to Ashland to Natick to Framingham, or I always get that reversed, whichever one comes first, then Wellesley, and then Newton, then Brookline, and then Boston. So they want to have that out. So my seagull is, as we would say at the Disney races, don't get picked up by the balloon ladies. If you see the ladies in the back coming with the balloons, now the Boston Marathon doesn't have balloon ladies or balloon people, but they do, when you're towards that. And because we start in the back of the pack of everybody, it puts you at somewhat of a disadvantage that you don't get to start at the earlier times as other waves do. And so you don't get the buffer. So you're running a little bit against a time clock in a different way than just running for yourself on your own time. So I'm going to focus less on the timing for me of mile by mile. I'm going to focus on lapse time. So I'm mindful of the timing, because they're allowing people to stay running and stay on the course this year, but they're moving you to the side.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you have to switch over mentally over to the side. Now, the year before my gallbladder, I had an injury, because I always have an injury. That was the year of my foot issue. Remember my foot issue?
Yeah.
That big nodule I had on my foot, and then I ended up with that's the year that my feet got frostbitten, and I ended up in the medical tent. That was the year that people were watching me, and I was going along at a good
Goal, stay out of the medical tent, right?
Yes, stay out of the medical tent. That was the year that people have reported, like, you were going. We were like, yeah, she's doing so great. And then all of a sudden my tracker stopped for like 10 or 15 minutes. It's because I had to change out heaters in my shoes. I had to change out socks. I had to change shoes out because my feet froze.
God.
And I couldn't feel the tops of like the underside of my toes, and they were bright white. And so by the time I got to the end of the race, I had lost about 45 minutes of time because I kept having to stop. And to your point, medical tenting is, if anyone's listening and they're running the race, unless you're dying, don't go in the medical tent, because they will deem sometimes that they should keep you there and like IV pack you or give you and you'll lose time. don't go in the medical tent unless you plan on being a DNFer, did not finish, or if you plan on losing a lot of time from your time, because they'll keep you. And I
Yeah.
appreciate everything that they do. And the medical staff is awesome, and I can't thank them enough. But they will scan your bib, and you will be off grid for X amount of time till they deem and clear you, or they don't let you go back on. So don't go in the medical tent unless you really have to. I tell that, I'm like, don't make that one of your goals. They're like, oh, it's okay. Like, if you need tape, say, do you guys have tape? And then they'll ask you, like, is anything else wrong? No, no, no. Like, do
Yeah.
you need help? No. Do
Don't
not
go to
ask for
medical
help.
tent because they do their job.
Right, right. Well, I made a mistake in the
Yeah.
Boston Marathon a couple years ago because I don't know what. Oh, it was my foot. I asked for Advil. They literally have to write like a narrative that's 5 pages long. I'm just
For
exaggerating.
Advil?
We're
Wow.
just giving you Advil because mine had gotten wet in the baggie in my pants, and so it melted into my pants. So I had none left, and I needed it, and so I had to. And they will only give you two. I take
Yeah.
4. And they'll only give you 2. So I was like, this isn't gonna help me. So note to self. So your A, B, and C goals are very different. So my week going in, besides my sleep, is also being very springy in my A, B, and C goal. Being that my A and B goals stay the same for the most part. My C goal will probably change as we get closer.
Yeah.
And just because that will be weather dependent, it will be clothing dependent. I'm all packed, by the way. People think it's crazy. Myself and Susan last night, we're both already packed. We're ready. Like, I could go tomorrow and be ready to go. All I have to do is put it in my bag. Um, it takes all the pressure off when
Yeah.
I see people on Friday at the expo, because I'll go in to pick up my bib, and people are buying things new. Biggest mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Never do anything, no new shoes, no new anything. You do with what you've been doing, but people will be like, I need a new pair of shoes.
Oh, God, no.
You shouldn't be doing that because you haven't broken them in, or people, or chafing is always a lack of preparation. Like, if you haven't tried the pants you're wearing or the
Yeah.
shorts, because now it's supposed to be 60, potentially 65 degrees on Monday, and people will wear shorts. I may even wear shorts, but I know I've learned that you don't wear shorts that rub, because if you haven't been used to wearing shorts, which us cold weather people haven't been, and you don't have a buffer like a bike tight underneath, you're going to be hurting, and you're going to have to stop because there's not enough Vaseline in the world to stop that pain.
Yeah.
So, there's a D goal. Don't chafe, because that's a sign of poor preparation, that you didn't have it together fast enough to know what you were doing. So, so those are some of the things. The other thing that I practice is I get connected with lots of people that are running the race, so that I feel that camaraderie with people. And I have a really nice big group of people from lots of the different running groups, the charity teams, and just general runners. Plus, I have my athletes that I've trained for this. So I have a really good connected camaraderie. And I love that. It's like the universal shared experience. It's runner speak.
Yep.
So it's exciting. And I have everyone loaded in the tracker. For people that want to track, you have to download the new version every year of the BAA Racing app. That's what it's called. It has the unicorn on it, and it's called the BAA Racing app. And it's very elaborate. They've done a beautiful job over the past couple of years of like updating it and making it this big thing. And you can put the bib numbers in, or you can just look up any runner you want to, and follow the lead. And you can actually see live time tracking, which is how everyone saw me stop when I had to have a shoe. That was the day I wanted to throw my shoes over the bridge. My shoes are going over the bridge. Um, uh, but if you want to do that, you can. And if you also, in the link there too, I'm going to do a plug. I'm very proud. I'm the number one fundraiser for my team currently. And I have been for the past. I'm probably going to get surpassed because I've said it, which is fine because it's going to the right places. But if you would like to still give a last minute, like $26.20 for 26.2 miles, or you'd like to round up to $30, you can certainly donate to my fund. Even if you've done it before this year, please go ahead and do it. Also, for my team, just as a cool, fun spring thing. If you donate $250 or more, or you already have, you're already entered into a raffle from the New England Patriots that will give away game tickets. And I promise you, I'm not guaranteeing, but I'm giving you a promise that I promise that I think the team is going to be really good this year.
Hmm.
Don't just me. I'm
I'm,
optimistic.
I'm looking for your link, so I'm
Oh,
just
okay. So it's Give and Gain, and it's do you have it?
I'm looking for it.
Okay. So if you go into the race app too at the top and you put my name in, there is a link that shows how much I've raised. And it's really cool that they did that. They find, they do it on their own. And I was really impressed with it. My link and my personhood of who I am in this race and who I run for is up in the corner of the race app. And it will tell you, and it will give the link there also if you'd like to donate. I will be asking, obviously, I'll be doing this again next year, provided I finish and don't die. But I am asking for people to, be generous, and even if it's $5, and just pushing it a little bit more. So you're entered. Oh, so you're entered into that for tickets. You're also, if you did $100 or more, you're entered into another raffle from the New England Patriots for other stuff, and then $50 or more also as an enter in for, I think, signed memorabilia and stuff like that. So, but if you've already done it, you're already entered because I have made sure of that. But if you would like to add some more, and just as an extra, go Kim, or go Dr. Kim on Monday, please go to my link and please donate. I would be forever grateful because it helps so many really great charities in New England. And that goes to veterans and homeless people and children and animals and suicide prevention and people who are just on their down and outs a lot of the time and just need the help. So every year it's a little different. But that's another big piece of my prep for the week, is I'm constantly monitoring my last moments because our fundraising is pretty much over. And I hit $12,100 basically back in February. And so
Nice.
I met my minimum that, and then I went over. And people have said that they would do more, but I don't like to keep asking people because now I've got to move on, right?
But that's
And
gonna take a lot of strain off the rest of your training.
well, that's why I
Just
always try
how
to
to
get it
practice,
done
yeah.
in January. I always try to get all my fundraising done early because then the bulk of the training cycle, which is usually 20 weeks, gets easier because then I don't have to focus so much on asking people. That's why I do the Super Bowl squares, and that's why I do um, the big gala fun event that I did in February. That people got very confused about the date, thinking it was on Super Bowl Sunday, which I would never do. Which that's fine. The other thing that's really weird, maybe to some people, maybe not to you, Lou, is I declutter like things in my house before this race.
Oh, no, I'm an
Actually,
anti-clutter person. I have clutter issues as well, so yeah.
I declutter things. I did so like 3 days ago, I emptied out my pants and top, like t-shirt and I got rid of clothes that I don't want, can't fit into anymore, and did 11 drawers. And I did that. I Yeah, and
But that's physical decluttering, that's mental decluttering disguised as physical decluttering,
mhm,
and I totally get that because
right.
that's my thing too.
And so, and that actually, now that might not help other people, but I know for me and for the athletes I'm helping this year, we have this great camaraderie. The ones that I've got racing this year, we all are very similar in that way, and we all laugh about the fact that as I'm training them, they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, this weekend I'm decluttering." And they're like, "So am I." So I'm like, "That's good. You should do that," because what it does is it frees up your mind. I also do the same thing with all my emails and all, like I try to, before this race, I try not to have anything sitting on me, as best as I can in terms of any kind of, you know, patient care or any kind of
Yeah.
things that I have to follow up on, or if I have to, like, this is always the time of year to write recommendations for kids for going to college, doing their ends of year things, like all kinds of stuff, and not going to college like because they're applying right now, but they're starting to ramp up and get ready for August for their comm app. I have all these people in the queue that are like, "Can you do a recommendation letter for me by May, whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But what I do is I just say I'm always very clear with my boundaries, as you know, and I say I will not be able to do that till this date. If that's not going to work, let me know. It just has made life easier over the 30 years to be so specific in my, as you know, I hold all my boundaries like I'm good at saying no. I'm good at saying this is not what I can do. I won't do that. So that helps me because then it's off my plate and I'm really clear in a empathic, loving way that I would love to help you. And if it's not on your timeline, then I can't.
Because this is the point in your preparation for the marathon where you kind of have to take your foot off the gas in terms of physical preparation. So all
Right.
that's left is all this mental stuff that's floating
Right.
around, and you have to try to keep that clear.
Well, that's the mindfulness piece of it. It's like, I know someone that went out and ran 17 miles the other day and
Ooh.
who?
I said, "Ooh."
Oh, I
That's
thought you said who. I'm like, I can't tell
a
you
lot.
who.
Yeah.
And this is taper time. So taper
Yeah.
time means that we're not supposed to be running those kind of miles, like 3 miles or 5 miles. Like I'm going to probably do like a very light 4 or 5 miles today, like this afternoon. Um, and then I'll do one more run. We call it a shakeout run, probably on Saturday, and that will be about 3 miles, maybe, and with like a little walk, and get out in nature. I'm trying to acclimate to the weather because it's been so cold, and now it's going to be warmer. So I want to acclimate because it's supposed to be 79 degrees on Saturday.
Oh God.
I
Wow.
know. So I'm just getting into that, and I'm also staying off of social media. Other than I'm staying off
Always good. Yeah.
news and social media for the whole like weekend. No, news and social media, and the fact that unfortunately, I hate this, but Easter, the marathon is a week later this year than all the other years. It's backed up. Patriots Day is on the day after Easter because Easter's later this year too. So everything got backed up. So Easter falls the day before. That's
Yeah.
the worst timing in terms of stuff. So I've been really clear with boundaries again that I'm unavailable until a very specific time on Sunday. And then I'm only willing to give X amount of time, which I'm sure is rubbing some people the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then I'm in my peace bubble, as I have been calling it. I'm in my peace bubble. And if you can't be part of my peace bubble, then you're out. Because it's just I don't have the mental bandwidth. I have mental bandwidth, but I don't want to have the mental bandwidth to have to take care of anybody else or to think about doing for other people or have them in my space. So
As I say, you get stingy with your mental energy. That's the way it
exactly.
needs to be. Yeah.
Right. And so and the other thing, so apparently I never realized how many things I actually do, but I also have been listening to I listen to 20 to 30 minute really uplifting podcasts about mental toughness. And aside from my own, I don't listen to my own to uplift myself. I listen to other people's who give me an uplift. And there's a couple of specific people that I listen to avidly. One is a runner that talks about things that she has a great podcast that I listen to. And I listen to mostly women because I feel motivated very much by women and their success in leadership and entrepreneurship and just their go get them kind of style. So I listen to lots of those things, and I already made my playlist for my music. And I do listen to music. I never used to on the course, but I really need to because I realize that when I get, especially those first 7 miles, the foot patterning of people, when I listen to their foot patterns, it changes my
Yeah.
cadence when I'm running, and
Imagine.
it gets in my way and it changes. That's another piece that gets into my head because I'm hearing people breathing, which is a big annoyance to me, is I hear people heavy breathing. I hear people talking because there's some runners that run like 7 people deep, like and they run together and they talk the whole way, and that drives me crazy because it gets me. Then I start listening to their conversation and not focusing on me. So I have a nice playlist of music that inspires me and things like that. So I'll be doing
The
that.
body wants to sympathize, right? It will go with the pace. It will go with breathing paces and things like that. It wants to. It wants to go along with what's happening around it.
Yeah. What? My music?
No, the body. When you're hearing other
Oh,
people breathe,
yes.
you're hearing other foot
Well,
patterns. Your body.
psychologically, we always tune into everything around us, right? And so that's what happens, unfortunately. Um, because psychologically we just go into that. I wanted to really quickly, because I had my phone in front of my comment area. Stacia Peters, I've known forever. She commented, "Thank you, good luck on Monday." Thank you so much. I've been in part of this group called the Divas, and we're all runners together. And I'm part of their group. And she's always an amazing support, and I love her. And she's a great runner and an inspiration to women. She hosts that group online, and it's a invite only. And I'm so appreciative to be a part of that running group and connected. And thank you so much for the inspirational messages that you send my way. Stacia's out there on the course. I actually never see her, but I know she's out there volunteering. And then, of course, there's Chris. Chris, I wanted to give a shout out to, because Chris did his marathon macaroni, and I was going to help him this year, where he goes into Brockton. Remember, we talked about Brockton and Canton, Mass, where Karen Reed. But he goes to Brockton. And he goes into Brockton, and he serves people that are without homes, and you can donate to him, and he's running the marathon as well, and there's so many other really great things. I just want to make sure I caught, like, I know other people are on because I saw them sign in, but I know people are listening, and I appreciate that. If you want to follow me on, I know there's other live stream apps. I'm not sure what they're called, but my number, because it's public information, so I can't keep it a secret. I can know what I need to. But if you want to follow along and see where I'm at, it's 27607 is this year's number. I'm 27607, and that is my bib number this year. And if you do use the BAA app, racing app, you can just put my name in and it will come up. You have to use Kimberly Lannon, not Kim Lannon. It comes up as my full formal name. And you can track me. I don't answer text, just for people to know. I do not answer text or phone calls during my run. People, I have a firm boundary about that. And 99% of everybody does know that I don't. It also, please don't text me until you see that I'm almost near the end, because it drains my battery on my phone. So there was a year that I had like 150 texts and people were calling me. I think it was during the year of the bad weather, and it was killing my battery. And finally my battery crapped the bed because people kept calling
Yep.
me. And then it puts me at a disadvantage at the end, because then I can't find people because I don't have any phone battery left. So please, if you want to, I can't put my phone on silent or on airplane mode, because then I can't hear my music. So I appreciate texting in the morning up until 11 o'clock. And then I take my charger off. So if you want to text me in the morning or the night before, please do. If you want to send me well wishes, you can text into the BAA, and they put it across the tickers all across the whole marathon course. And at the end, they put it up on the big screen. They will put big message. If you have ending messages or congratulation messages, and you want to put a picture up of you or me or us together or whatever, they do that at the end. You can directly go into the BAA online app, or go onto their website, and you can all day long put in messages that will get to me, and then they come on the course in the tickers that come across, so we can see them if I'm paying attention.
All right. One last thing.
Yeah.
Give us any insights on the playlist. I got to know what's on the playlist.
Oh, my playlist. Oh, my playlist. You're gonna laugh. My playlist. I'm opening it up for a second. My playlist has everything from Iron Maiden. Right now, I'm looking at it. There's a song called the Long Distance Runner.
Yeah.
It's called The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, and it's by Iron Maiden, and it's really good. So it goes from anything from Iron Maiden to Whitney Houston.
Of course. Yeah.
It has, I've got Black Eyed Peas, I've got AC/DC, I've got Foo Fighters,
Yep.
I've got Lionel Richie, I've got, you name it, I have got a variety, but all of my songs have a cadence rhythm that stay within a same
Okay. So
type of
you
rhythm.
look for a particular tempo.
I pick the songs that fit into, I pick songs I like. And then if they fit into the tempo, I keep them. And if they don't, or if they're really close, I'll keep them. If not, I toss them. I have a lot of songs this year from Wicked. because Wicked fits a tempo, especially Defying Gravity.
Yeah.
The song Defy and Popular from Ariana Grande. So they made my list. Justin Timberlake hits my list all the time. Pharrell hits my list all the time.
So you got to have a different tempo for the beginning of the race to
Right.
stay slow down, and then another playlist for later on.
Right. And that's how, and I upgraded this year to premium so that I could actually have control over the way it plays. Cause before, you just have to let it run through and I would get a song and I'd be like, oh, this is not good timing for this song. So, and if you don't have premium on Spotify, it won't let you jump through after 2 or 3. It makes you sit and listen to the song and then it would like kill me. So, yeah, but Iron Maiden's on there. I laugh because everyone's like Iron Maiden. I'm like, yeah, it's a great song.
Wouldn't have guessed. No.
And Thunderstruck. Gotta have Thunderstruck.
Oh, of course.
That's like, yeah. So, but that's my playlist. It's 6.5 hours long.
Shoot the Thrill is my AC/DC song. You gotta have that on there.
Thriller?
Shoot the Thrill.
Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have that on there. I'll have to add that.
Yep.
If I get to. I'm hoping I'm not going to use all my time up on my music. I'm hoping I padded it with a lot in case I'm out there for a while. We'll see. But anyway, you guys, hopefully that you enjoyed this podcast today. It was all about marathoning and springing forward. And we'll see you next week, obviously, when I'm done and I hit one of my A, B, or C goals. Hopefully the first one, which is finish healthy. And then all the rest is golden. So, and I already hit one of my best goals already as I raised a shit ton of money for an amazing charity. And again, if anyone wants to donate and still, please, jump in that last $26.2.
Good luck on Monday. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, you guys have a great week. Thanks for all the support. Mwah!